You're listening to the Hodcast, coming to you all the way from Australia and brought to you by HikeordieTV. G'day guys, how you doing? Welcome to the first ever Hodcast, as I like to call it. And we just had a discussion before this as to whether we call it the Hike or Die podcast or the Hodcast. Craig likes Hodcast, I like Hodcast, but I did make a promise that if you guys absolutely hate it, I'll never say it again. So let us know. Hello to everyone watching on YouTube as well, because we're recording this at the same time. Happy 2018, everybody. It is a brand new year. It's very early in the year. We had a pretty big 2017, well, both in our personal lives and in our hiking adventure lives. Probably not so much as we would have liked, but we'll get into that in a little bit. But, mate, what do you think? New podcast, are you ready to give it a crack?
Yeah, we've been talking about this for a while, so it's going to be great to really kick off some podcasts and see where they take us.
Yeah, the idea of the podcast sort of came about. Well, it actually came about maybe like over a year ago. I remember we had a rough go at kind of putting something together, but it kind of fell by the wayside. I had a big editing project on last year for a documentary, and that pretty much took up all of my time. But it's something that for 2018 I really wanted to hit this hard. There's a lot of reasons why I wanted to do it, or we wanted to do it. The sort of things like we can delve into detail a lot more than we can in things like reviews. We can answer questions. We can be a bit more specific about the information that we give to you guys. And also it's just another medium. It's something you can listen to while you're cruising along in your car, or one of our Instagram and Facebook followers, actually, Nate. G'day, mate. You've been following us since almost day one, and we appreciate it. He said when we mentioned last time we might be doing a podcast, he said, hurry up and do it because he wants to listen to it while he's working out. So, mate, if you're working out right now, get stuck into it, brother. But yeah, whatever floats your boat, eh?
Yeah.
Look, I'm going to give you a bit of a rundown now on. I've been talking to a few people in the industry. Obviously, Craig and I, over the years, have built up a lot of contacts in the adventure industry. And let me just make it clear, this is not just a hiking podcast. It's anything outdoors, anything we can get our hands on. It's canoeing, it's mountain climbing, it's whatever. It's anything that we kind of get into outdoors. And some of the guests I've got lined up for future podcasts are people like professional photographers. Literally a couple of days ago I was speaking to a guy who gets some of his photos published in National Geographic.
Brilliant.
Amazing guy. He's real keen to jump on here. There's other photographers, landscape photographers that are really keen to have a chat with us. There's people from actually all around the globe. I had a couple of people in the US and the UK who are keen to jump on and share some information with us. I mentioned to you before the podcast, last year I met an ex-commando who now runs these pretty extreme kind of adventures, and yeah, he'd be great to have on. I'm sure he'd love to come on and share some of his navigation kind of tips and survival tips with us.
Yeah, for sure, mate. That'll be great.
Yeah, he's a top guy too. There's also some of our, I guess you call them, some of our gear suppliers that we deal with. It'd be nice to get them on every now and then and just give us a bit of an insight into some of the gear they produce and how they test it and all that sort of stuff. If you know anything about us, you would know that we do kick out quite a few reviews when we get time.
Yeah.
And some of that stuff's fantastic.
That'll be good.
All right. Craig, I think you will take us through a couple of the regular segments that we're looking at putting together. Perhaps. These are all just ideas, guys. Give us your feedback.
Yeah, well, that's it. We have a couple of ideas for regular segments on these podcasts. In particular, we're going to do some shout-outs to our existing and some of our new subscribers on all our social media.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. There's people that have been there for years, literally years, supporting us, and we don't get enough opportunities to say thanks for that.
Definitely.
And then there's guys that jump on. Today we had two new subscribers on YouTube, and if it was you, thank you, but I can't even read your name out because it came up in Japanese characters. But that doesn't mean we don't appreciate it. But that might be difficult to do a shout out. I just got to brush up on my katakana. But anyway.
That was close to being our first shout out right there, but it didn't quite
damn
work.
Close.
So there'll be a potential segment about outdoor or adventure books that we think you guys will really love. Yeah, we're going to work hard to bring some stuff to you guys that we think you should, wrap your hands around as well.
Yeah, we actually read books. If you you might not believe that, but we do, and I get tons of information out of books.
True.
A lot of books I've had in the past, I've either bought a copy and given it to Craig, or I've lent it to you.
Yeah.
Vice versa, on many different topics, but I'd love to start sharing some of those. It's something that we do, well, I personally get asked quite a bit, is what sort of stuff I'm reading at the moment. So I'd love to share that. Could be a cool segment.
Yeah, books, I think possibly even some other websites and some other media
that's a really cool idea.
We get our head around.
Excellent.
Definitely a new gear segment. I think things that we're carrying now and things that have changed in our minds and things that change in our pack each time we get on here would be really good to talk about.
Yeah, if anyone else is like us, they're constantly kind of tweaking gear, getting new bits and pieces, or replacing gear.
Oh, for sure.
And what was the last thing that you bought?
Yeah, I bought some shoes lately. I actually look back and think that is something I knew very little about when we started some of these adventures.
What,
and
shoes or gear?
Shoes.
Oh, shoes.
So particularly shoes. And now I've definitely tried a bunch of shoes and found that's a pretty important piece of gear. So yeah.
We lucked out big time with those boots that we bought.
Yeah.
The first boots that we bought were Solomon 3D Max or something like that.
Yep.
And man, we gave them a workout. But I tell you what, we just could not have just picked a better boot. I just can't believe how our experience has been improved from that.
Yeah, so I just picked up a pair of Solomon Speedcross 4s this week.
Is that the high top ones?
No.
Oh, Speedcross.
Yeah, just like a trail running.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
I might check them out. I was actually looking someone online last night.
Real grippy tags on the bottom, and
massive.
Yeah,
they look like footy boots, man.
They kind of do, yeah. They do.
What colour did you get?
I just got black.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because I would have given you a bit of stick if you got.
They're pretty bright.
Yeah. I was looking at them. They're fantastic. Before my Tasmania hike last year, I picked up a new pair of Solomon, the 4D Max.
Yes, so
exactly same size. Everything is just an upgraded model.
Why not? They look great.
They are kick-ass, and it was just, I just could not justify making another decision about boots when not one thing was wrong with the boots I was wearing.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you change? I was literally getting ready to go on a very critical documentary filming expedition over 6 days through mountainous terrain, snow, rain, everything. And why would I make any other decision but that? And I was so happy with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, shoes make life good.
Learn a lot about them. I think it's a pretty important piece of gear. So yeah, but there's lots of stuff, man, or new gear that we've been putting in our packs that we'll be talking about. Shoes just one of them for sure. Anyway, moving along, there are probably going to be some giveaways if we get our hands on some gear that we've been donated.
Yeah, reviewing. Yeah, we get a fair bit of gear sent to us. Obviously, a lot of it is, we're not into doing straight unboxings. If you've seen our YouTube reviews, they're more of a real test. So we'll spend days, weeks, months, sometimes testing gear, trashing gear, and then we'll finally come back and say, right, we're happy to bring this to you and give you our honest opinion.
Does that mean we'll be giving away slightly soiled products?
Most of the stuff will be broken. It's the stuff we don't need anymore. That old pair of boots, they're yours. No. More often than not, we'll get duplicates, multiples, or something like that, and that's where I'd like to start giving back to you guys for all of your support. So yeah, be cool.
Perfect.
Jolly good. Anything else to add on that note, man?
No, that's it.
Good. Where am I up to? Episode ideas. I have some notes here on... Now, this is another one of those things where we're really happy to kind of cater to what you guys want to hear, what sort of information you want to extract out of us, and what sort of learnings you want to get. So a couple of ideas that I've just jotted down here for sort of future episodes, apart from getting in some of the awesome guests that I've got in the pipeline. We could do something like a whole podcast on solo hiking, for example, which is something that we're both pretty passionate about.
Definitely. And
have plenty to say on that, which is why I'm not even going to say any more than that.
Yep.
Because I'll be here for half an hour.
Yeah, I reckon.
Another cool one I thought of was hammock versus tent. That is going to start some fights.
That old chestnut.
What we want, yeah. So, it'll probably start some fights on YouTube and social media as well. But each their own. Let's not go there yet. Other things like safety, safety outdoors, that sort of thing. Fitness, I do get into a lot of conversations about what sort of training I do to get into shape, how often I do it, how close to the trip do I sort of taper up, taper down, all those sorts of things. And again, it's a subject I've got so much to say on that it'll take a whole podcast for you to hear it. There's a few others there. I won't go into detail too much. Even something like, this is a weird one, but think about this, mate. Hiking etiquette.
Yeah.
We, I would think, are pretty respectful hikers in as far as our, not as a respect for each other, but respect for the environment, respect for the campsites that we walk in and out of, respect for other hikers when we're around them or traveling with them or past them or sharing a campground with them. I think, again, I think that's something I'd like to really get in and get your opinion on a few things there. I think everyone's slightly different, but there's, again, that's something that somebody's going to sit there, listen to this and say, oh, I totally disagree. And that's okay. We've all got our opinions.
Yep.
But, I'll give you one example.
Righto.
We hike. This is hypothetical, right? This has never happened to us. We hike for 6 hours into a remote location. One would think we've done that to get away from just day-to-day life, society, technology, all of that.
Yeah, sure.
we get to a campground. It's a shared campground. There's another group there. And they pull out their little iPhone and their little Bluetooth speakers and just start cranking some, I don't know, Eminem.
Yeah.
That just grinds my gears, mate. I can't.
I like Eminem.
Can't deal with it. Yeah, you would.
No. No.
It's not the fact
music,
that it's
right?
Eminem. It's
not
the
that.
fact that I don't understand it. That's not saying it's wrong. It's just saying I listen to music in the car on the way to the point where I get out and go hiking. I don't know. It's going to start fights. It might not start a fight between you and me, but it's not. I know people that do it. I know people that think it's perfectly natural. So
yeah, I think it's a conversation we've got to have. I think
we got it, and there's plenty more I can go
Yeah.
into. There's plenty more things that tick me off, as you know.
The little things.
Yeah, and I think hiking etiquette moves into sort of that leave no trace kind of mentality as well. Yeah,
No, I think we should definitely have some chats about these things we find important.
fantastic. Now, what else have I got here? Oh, I was thinking, Craig, that we should have a little chat. Since this is our first podcast or hodcast, we should talk about our first hike
Oh, yeah.
together.
Okay.
And I don't know, maybe how that kind of came about. Do you want to start on that?
About?
What sort of memories?
You better
do
remind
have?
me how it came about. I remember what we did.
I'll never forget what we did. I don't remember the definitive point where I had this notion that we need to get outdoors. I don't remember what it was. I don't remember if it was watching Rambo again or whatever it was. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
Something happened. And I remember I was probably at your house. I've come to see you, and I've started saying, I don't feel complete. I don't feel like... I think there's something missing in my life, and I think it's adventure. I think it's outdoors. I think it's testing my body, testing my mind. And this was a big conversation we had. I remember it got pretty deep, like too deep for this podcast. It was a man chat. And we came out the other end of that conversation basically saying, let's get out there and see if that is what we're missing. I specifically remember the conversation. I don't remember how we got to that conversation.
Yeah.
But that's when we jumped in your car and we end up at this hiking store. We didn't know anything about anything. And we spent a ton of cash on our packs. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
We bought our packs,
Bought the packs.
boots. You bought your Xped mat at the same place.
I remember we did a hike before we had boots, and that was a bit full on because I remember just hiking in some runners.
You might not have got your...
I think you had some, and
I got mine straight. I know I got mine on that day.
That's what happened.
Yeah, as I remember getting home and having to explain spending that much money.
But we got our hands on about, 3 days, 2 nights?
It was a 3-day, 2-night hike. We had access to was something like 4,000 acres or 4,000 acres or something. Yeah, somewhere around that. Yeah. And so basically we had a rough map of it, and we said let's hit this for a couple of nights. How hard can it be? What was our accommodation like, Craig? Remind me. Describe it for the viewers.
I'm about to say that we purposely didn't take a tent, right? So we had a fly.
We thought that was it wasn't a fly. It was the
poncho.
Cedar Summit poncho that folded out into a very small tarp.
exactly what it was. And we turned that into
clip the two together and make a bigger tarp.
Shelter for the 2 nights.
Shelter's that's a pretty bold statement for what we were in. If you go on to our website plug, HikeordieTV.com, there's a blog on there where we've written a bunch of articles, and I think the first thing I ever wrote and posted on that website was the story of that hike. And so there's a couple of photos there of how, I'm sure there's one of the, I can just pull it up while we keep talking, but I'm sure there's one on there.
That was the night shelter. We had all those little critters running around us.
That's right. We'd wake up and we'd look on some of the guy lines, and there'd be mice, like field mice, running across the.
That's for sure.
We actually thought it was pretty cool at the time. Bear with me while I just look that up. That's definitely one of the memories I've got. I also remember hiking up that first ridge. Our packs were overloaded, I'd say. A lot of the gear was beginner gear.
Yeah.
There's a lot of weight in it.
Yeah.
We've since culled a lot of weight out of our packs, and then we ridiculously thought it'd be a good idea to start filming everything. So now we're back up to heavy packs, but we're a lot fitter. We're a lot more hike fit.
Yeah.
I feel, at least. Well, we definitely are.
Yeah, sure.
Let's drop my pen. So I remember that first hill, and for some reason, and this has always been the case, at least in the early days, going uphill was no problem for you. I had to stop about 5 times up that thing. Like, my legs were literally failing and just getting lactic acid buildup, and that was me done for like 3 or 4 minutes. It was horrific. I thought, what are we doing? I could drive up this hill.
I think I was afraid to stop, to be honest with you.
I remember you just said, I'm going to the top. See you there.
It was pretty, it was a pretty full-on climb with those packs. Anyway, that's where it all started.
Mentioning their packs, I don't think they were fitted well. I think we had them bearing down on their shoulders. The waist belt wasn't taking the weight. It was just horrible. It was parts of that hike, and I remember, I've said this to you before, I literally at some points of that hike thought, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Except I didn't say it that nicely in my head.
Yeah.
And why are we doing this? Yeah. And is this what hiking is? Because I don't think I'm cool with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Give us a rundown on, give us another memory, mate, from that, because I've got a ton.
Oh, so that was the one trying to light fires with flints and...
Tell them about you trying to light your first flint fire.
Oh, I don't remember the story. I just remember getting some sort of blister on my finger, but it didn't quite go. It wasn't that romantic image I had in my head, that's for sure.
I remember I lit the fire on the first night, and I specifically remember the second night you said, I'd like to give this a go. And I said, no worries. And I literally fell asleep laying on a rock while you were doing it.
Took a while.
Oh, it was great. I'm still trying to look for that article while I talk. I'll get there. The second morning we woke up and I looked up and there were deer. I definitely know that. There's a very terrible photo. It's not good at all, but it's got the deer in it. There were 3 or 4 deer, probably 3. We're just trotting down, and because we were kind of in a gully, again, that's not where you should camp. We kind of looked at these deer were just standing there, and I managed to just grab the camera and get a quick shot. But that was the very first time in my entire life I had seen deer. especially in the wild,
Mm.
especially in Australia. I'd never seen
Mm.
deer except on TV, and I just remember just watching them run off because they kind of got spooked once they realised we were humans, and I just thought all of a sudden this is pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
We're onto something here.
Yeah.
Tell us about the water purification. Go.
Oh, that one. Yeah, so we've learned a lot about water purification
Just a little.
over the years, starting with an early belief that you need to boil water for a very long time. We used to think 5 minutes.
Not just
Bring it
not just have it on the heat 5
No.
minutes. Bring it to the boil.
then boil it.
Then
for
rolling boil.
5
solid
minutes.
5 minutes by
Dang.
the stopwatch before. Then we would let it sit there for
Yeah.
an hour before we kind of transfer it to our canteen. And it was just, we went through so much gas.
Yeah.
That time I thought, wow, geez, people must carry a lot of gas if they're doing this all the time.
We did.
Geez, thankfully we've come a long way since then.
No, I remember turning up quite thirsty, and we had to first of all filter the water and then boil it, and then let it cool down.
It was just, again, that was just not a cool experience. And again, I thought, why haven't hikers thought of a better idea?
Why haven't they
than
worked
this?
something out?
Haven't they worked something out like a filter? Or
So yeah, we're feeling silly now, for sure.
I'm getting close. Oh, here it is. Here, I've actually found it.
Bushfires.
Have a guess when I posted this.
How long ago is it? 4 years ago.
Pretty close. 5 years ago, I posted the first blog entry on this website. Yeah, it's got a picture of one deer.
Oh yeah.
There's a picture of you.
Oh yeah.
It says in the quote, camp on the second night, Craig building the fire. That's not what's happening. It's a lie.
It's a lie.
But you can see our rubbish kind of makeshift shelter.
Yeah.
Now, cut to the last morning, because that's it still kind of haunts me. I told that story to a guy just last week. I was forward driving and camping last week, and just with a mate, and we were kind of talking about a few things, and I was telling him how we got into it, and I was telling him a bit of the stuff we're talking about now, and I told him about that last morning.
To be honest with you, I until I just read that title, I can't believe that was our first hike that this happened on.
Neither can I.
I was just telling you those other things and forgot about the bushfire, which, so early that last morning we woke up to.
We woke up to a bushfire.
Yeah.
I'll tell you my version. See, I didn't know you were awake, or maybe this all kind of felt like it happened over a few minutes, but it might have been less than that. But this must have been about 4 a.m.
Yeah,
sort of.
I'd say so. Yep, I'd say so. It was dark.
It was dark, completely dark. And I remember sitting up in my sleeping bag, and I heard this kind of like leaves getting stepped on, kind of a sound.
Yep.
Straight away, I'm thinking, because we were at a water source, straight away I was thinking, oh, the deer have come back. There's a herd of deer moving through the brush.
Sure.
It sounded like a herd of deer walking, crackle, crackle. Then I looked right up the top of the ridge, and there was a kind of a single tree there, and it was kind of golden, like it had a light shining on it, like a golden light.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, wow, that ridge must be so high, because it was in the west, that ridge must be so high that it's catching the first rays of sunrise just on the top of that ridge.
Yeah.
And I've looked over behind and there's just no sun, and I'm thinking, it was just kind of confusing. But I was sitting there just looking at it, and then in that time you had somehow woken up. Maybe you heard me rustling around, but I just heard your voice next to me go, "Is that a bushfire?" And the second you said, "Is that a fire?"
Yep.
My brain just kicked in and went, glowing light, crackling sound, and I just freaked out. I remember we just burst out of our sleeping bags in seconds. We were flipping out, man.
There was no smoke because we were down in the...
We were down in the valley. Just
valley?
To kind of paint the picture. We were right down in this gully, and it was coming over the ridge. And as you probably would understand with fire, it obviously moves faster up the ridge. So it was coming over the ridge, and it was moving quickly. Thankfully, it had more work to do to come down to us. But I remember saying to you, shove as much gear as you can shove in 5 minutes. That's it.
Yeah.
In 5 minutes, we are running, and whatever gear we're not holding or is in our pack, we're letting it burn because
for sure.
I mean, in hindsight, I don't know. There's so many things go through you. We're alive, so we're cool, right? But in hindsight, I know that in my head I was thinking, I'm not letting $650 worth of gear burn on my first hike.
No.
So I'm dragging this stuff up. My heart's pounding. I'm nearly throwing up. It was hectic.
It was.
And in hindsight, you'd kind of think, well, just put your shorts on and your boots and just run up the hill. Forget about it. That's kind of a smart thing to do. But we didn't do that, but we did have one smart thing that we did, and we moved in a direction that we'd kind of previously seen the day before that was burnt out.
Yeah.
So it had previously burned maybe days or weeks prior to us being there. And in a pretty short amount of time, we got to this burnt out area.
Yeah, that's true.
Which could not burn any further. And we got to that, and we sat on a log, and I said straight to you, is this what hiking is? Because I don't know if I want to do it.
That's exactly right. That's what you said.
Again, I didn't say it as nicely as that. And we sat there, and I said, I've got a family to go home to. What am I doing this? Is this what every hike? Do you risk your life every time you walk into the wilderness? And that's a pretty big discussion.
No, it was a real adventure, more than we bargained for. And yeah, I learnt heaps from that, and I certainly do see the real fear and danger in that. I think we cut our gear free from the trees and just
that's right.
threw it on our back. And you say 5 minutes. I think it was a lot quicker than that.
Might have been less. Yeah,
we were out of there. And
it's gone. It's the quickest I've ever packed up.
And luckily we it worked out all right. But jeez, that was pretty hairy end to the trip.
A guy that's been a long time supporter of Hike or Die through various social media channels is somebody that I spoke to last year. He's actually he does a lot of outdoor stuff. He's currently living in the US, and he does a bit of work for the fire and rescue over there. I'd really love to, when we get him on as a guest, I'd really love to pick his brain about a few things like that, because I'm sure there'd be a few insights or stories or examples of what to do, what not to do.
Yeah.
Maybe not spend a few minutes packing up your gear, like stuff like that. We just didn't know what we were doing. Do you remember when we pulled up to the property, there was a dead red-belly black snake hanging over the fence
there, yeah.
As soon as we get to the gate, there's a snake. So this was a big cattle property, and there's a dead, poisonous, venomous snake that is quite prolific in this country, especially in this area. And I remember thinking, A, is that an omen, or B, are they just kind of everywhere? Because there's one on the front gate. We just got here and there's one. They must just be everywhere. But thankfully we didn't see one on that trip, but
we've seen heaps. Yeah.
And not always a good experience with the old snakes.
Yeah, but something got us, and I think the feeling when you get through that first trip and then subsequent trips just sort of pushes you to the next one, and there's always like an evolution there, I think. All the problems we encountered, it's almost like a jigsaw puzzle that you want, or a game of chess that you want to play perfectly, and you know you didn't play it perfectly in that instance, so you want to go back and you want to play it again, and you want every single move to be executed perfectly, and that comes from your fitness through to your planning, through to your checking your maps, organising it, choosing the right gear, choosing what gear to leave at home and not to take. That's one of the biggest learnings I've found over the years, is don't take everything you own on every trip if you can. I still make the mistake with camera gear. I take stuff and get home and pull it out and go, well, I'm glad I carried that 560 grams Never touched it.
weight and did not get it out of the dry bag.
Yeah, I've really got a lot out of learning those skills, packing better and so forth. But I think a lot of it is about us getting out of our comfort zone into some sort of challenge, some difficulty. Just, I think we need that as human beings, is that sort of experiences where you're not in control fully. You don't know what's coming around the corner.
Making decisions on the fly.
So where else are you going to get that? I mean, there's lots of ways, but this is a really good way for us to push that envelope.
Something I've been dwelling on of late, I started writing a journal, man. Don't judge me. It's just thoughts and stuff. But I was away camping in the rainforest for 5 days just over the break we had. And so I was kind of writing every day, just about just observations, stuff like that. And something I wrote down in this book here was, I'm probably going to talk about this a lot, I reckon, this coming year, because it just occurred to me. What I've written in this book is the importance of feeling, in inverted commas, the environment. What I mean by that is, it's funny, I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and they said, I hope it doesn't rain. Because then I'll have to stay home. And that's not how I think anymore. That doesn't affect me. That's not in my... It just doesn't register anymore, because being out there and getting rained on,
sure,
with the right equipment, don't get me wrong, of course, you don't want to become hypothermic or anything. We've got the right gear now. We've got good rain gear. We know when it gets to a point where, okay, perhaps we should stop, chuck up a tarp, sit down and have lunch and just wait for it to pass, or whatever the scenario might be. Yep. But feeling that environment, feeling the wind on you, feeling the cold, getting rained on, watching the rain, hearing it, immersing yourself within it, is an experience that I don't want to say, it's raining today, I'm not going hiking, or I'm not going canoeing, or I'm not going forward driving. It just doesn't even compute with me. But the fact that we did think like that, and the fact that other people do that in their daily lives, it's raining, I can't walk the dog. Go and walk the dog in the rain, man. Best thing ever.
Sure.
Washes the dog for free.
Yeah.
It's cool to be experiencing Mother Nature, and like I say, I keep saying it, feeling it, smelling it, tasting it, stream water, smelling flowers, smelling moss. Like, you get these senses that what are you out there for if you're not out there to engage those senses?
You're disconnected
You're
otherwise.
out there. Why are you out there? It's visually appealing, and there's physical challenge, but there's all these other things that come into play, and they're becoming much more apparent to me the more that I think about it, the more that I write about it, the more that I go out, and the more that I realize how different we are, or I am, to people that are just starting out, or how different we are to when we started out.
For sure.
The journey that we've come on has the learning curve is just out of this world.
True.
How comfortable I feel out there now, how that affects my home and work life in a positive way is that's a podcast in itself. We'll discuss that another time.
True.
Because what's it done for you? Like where's it taken you? Can you remember the person you were and how it's changed you?
Yeah, fully that connection with nature and the weather and myself, to be able to know where I sit in the scheme of things and in the landscape around us too. So I've learned a lot about, I suppose, where my limits are, and I'm much more prepared when I go on an adventure, so that I can enjoy them, so that I can get a lot more out of it. So come a long way in 5-6 years.
Yeah, probably 5 years. There's definitely things that I've done that I never probably couldn't have anticipated I'd get to that level or be so comfortable with that. There's a lot of things now that we're like a well-oiled machine. The reason I was contacted to film that documentary last year was because of not only had I done that hike before, but my experience in the outdoors, in the wilderness, plus obviously the experience with filming. So, that opportunity came about because of the growth that has happened within me and my skill set and my fitness and my, the way that I deal with nature, and enjoy it. There's times there where I was getting rained on and blasted with wind, and part of me was thinking, this is pretty cool. and part of me is freezing cold and irritated, but I always seem to see the good in some of those hectic situations now. Sorry, getting a bit deep. Hey, I wanted to run some, just talking about our journey so far. I was just looking at our YouTube before we came on here. Without looking, we just clocked up 730 subscribers on YouTube today. I just didn't realize it was that high.
That's awesome.
That's not high in comparison to, I don't know, some other channels. I appreciate that. But at the same time, we don't pump out the content as regularly as they do, just because we've both got commitments with family and work. Anyway, I'm proud of it. It was That's 0, cool. And it's 730. And thank you to everyone, and thank you to you guys on YouTube. Thank you to everyone across all of the social media channels, because I would genuinely say we have friends internationally that we will always be welcome to them, and vice versa.
It's great to make so many friends.
Say hi. Yeah, they're just supporters from day one. Okay, a few more cool facts. What do you remember? What the first video was that we ever did? What was the first review? What do you reckon the first review was that I posted?
Was it one of the Gerber knives, or was it
No,
the Soul Bivvy? That was awesome.
Soul Bivvy.
Oh, was it?
No, way earlier than that.
So it was the Gators?
Yes. Cedar Summit Quagmire Canvas Gators.
Yeah.
4 years ago, 8,500 views.
Nice.
What was another stat I was going to run by you?
We used
okay. Most popular video, have a guess.
the Quagmire Gators? No, just joking.
No,
joking. Most popular video, the Soul Bivvy. No?
You win. The most viewed video.
Is it?
Now, this was only posted 3 years ago, so even a shorter time than the other ones. 25,000 views.
Really?
And I tell you what, I'm constantly getting on that to reply to people's comments.
All right.
Constantly people just still ask questions or comment on that, and it's
Wow.
been really great to some quite detailed questions as well. People asking how they think it would rate here, and what if I did this, and what if I used it for this, and it's been really cool to kind of interact with people just all over the world and kind of give them a bit of advice on a piece of gear that we tested very, very thoroughly.
Yeah.
And a piece of gear that I still carry
Yeah, I do too.
every trip.
Yep.
Without fail, it's stuffed in the top of my pack. It's always there. It should always be there. If it's not for us, it's for somebody that we stumble across that is hypothermic. Yeah. I'll always carry it. It's fantastic.
That's good quality.
Number 2 is the old 9-volt battery fire lighting tutorial.
Oh, man. Actually, I really like that. That was...
That's not bad, is it? But I still wouldn't have picked it.
Well, I'm thinking of the oven you made too.
Oh, that actually doesn't rate too well.
Yeah, but
It took me ages to do that.
Yeah.
Dakota Fire Pit.
That's what it's called. Yeah.
Yeah. You just can't pick it. But that is what we want to hear back about in this podcast is what do you want to hear, what don't you want to hear?
Sure.
And that's just important. And what do you want to see on there? Because I can go and punch out content all day, but if it's not getting any views, I'd much rather hear what the viewer wants to see and then focus my attention on that.
Yeah.
There's one more thing I was going to point out. Oh. Most viewed episode. So for those of you who don't know about our YouTube channel, we don't just do reviews and tutorials. We kind of put together episodes. So if we go on an adventure, we most of the time we film it and then we put together an episode about that adventure and post it.
Yeah. Which one?
Well, I guess.
I don't know. There were some early ones where you found some snakes and stuff. Could have been that.
That was cool. I gave it a really original title, just on the snake one.
Oh, the snake one.
Snakes on a hike.
Snakes on a hike.
Yeah.
So it's not that.
It's not. It's not that. It's not that.
I don't know. Is it a survival challenge?
No. Oh, I'm gonna break it.
Chasing dragons.
It was you, mate. It was you.
What?
It was your solo overnight hike.
Oh, cool. How many views has it had?
Almost 3,500.
True.
I know.
Jeez.
People want to see you, mate. That trumps Chasing Dragons, which is pretty cool little episode.
Pretty cool.
And episode 1, which is just a solo. That's the first thing I ever filmed, and I didn't know why I was filming it. I didn't know what I'd ever do with it. And geez, that steamrolled. I mean, if you think about that, filming that first episode was quite literally, without me knowing it, paving the way for me to film a documentary. That's just crazy.
Yep.
And then we've gone on to film one as well last year. through some brutal terrain. I'll give more details about that later.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just thought you wanted to see some of those, get an idea of how far we've come. So again, thanks to everyone. We won't bore you with any more stats. And, mate, what, you got any adventures coming up?
I'm probably, just running up a mountain tomorrow. It'd be good. Taking the
Anyone in particular?
Taking the boy up gun tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
Take a few pics up there.
That's a good one.
No, so I was actually going to hit you up tonight about a couple of dates in Feb. Might get out to Barney again.
All right.
Yeah, for sure.
I spent 5 days camping. Then I did a bit of this was just over the break. I did that 2-day full driving trip. Oh, man. As you saw my car tonight.
That's it.
It's pretty dirty.
That's what you want.
But I have some fantastic footage of that. I would love to get that up onto YouTube, even if it's just a couple of minutes. Really cool drone footage, really cool super slow motion footage of us hitting giant water holes and stuff.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
Really good. So, look out for that. That's something I wouldn't mind getting up soon. And then I did a bit of a half-day hike back up that same place where you did your solo hike, which is the best viewed episode on our channel.
So,
yeah.
Oh, okay, so you've just been up there.
I just went up there again. Still gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a secret spot that we found many years ago, and Craig went back there by himself.
Yeah.
So, but what's coming up? I've got a big inland trip coming up in a couple of months,
cool.
up through the desert, basically, or pretty damn close to it.
Yeah, right.
And definitely preparing all my gear for that. Get some cool footage and stuff on that.
Oh, that's rad.
That's about it, guys. Thanks for listening. We'd love to hear your feedback. I really want to get stuck into organising these guests, organising these segments, and sharing a few cool stories with you. Mate, Craig, do you have anything else to add?
No, I'd love to thank everyone too. Wish them a good new year and hope they keep in touch with us. And I'm looking forward to putting this together.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hope all of you have made New Year's resolutions that include going to some pretty cool places. Mm-hmm. Let us know what they are all over the world. I tell you what, some of you guys that we follow on Instagram, I just can't get enough of the pictures.
I know.
So cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to leave it there. Thanks so much. Won't hold up any more of your time. Look out for more podcasts. Tell your friends, tell your family. And that's it. All I got to say.
Cheers.
Thanks so much.
Thanks.
See you guys. Take it easy.
Bye.
If you're listening to this podcast on iTunes, we'd really appreciate your ratings and comments if you can spare the time. If you'd like to know more about HikeordieTV and keep track of our adventures around Australia, make sure you drop by Hikeordie.com. That's where you'll find all the information you'll need to follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram or Pinterest. As always, we appreciate your support. Thanks for listening.